If you wish to speak to any item on the agenda or during the public comment portion of the meeting, please fill out a speaker card. Each person addressing the board shall have 3 minutes to complete his or her comments on each agenda item for which he or she has filled out a card. The chair has the discretion to determine or alter the time limits on any agenda item. The Board of County Commissioners requests that speakers appearing under the public comment section of the agenda limit their comments or presentations to matters relating to county business that are within the board's control, authority, and jurisdiction.
Welcome to the Brevard County Commission meeting. We have a quorum, and Commissioner Goodson is with us telephonically.
Do you want me to make a motion, sir, to allow him to participate by phone? That's my motion.
Second.
Okay, motion and second. All in favor, say yay.
Yay.
Motion carries unanimously. Thank you so much. Okay, our Pledge of Allegiance, our invocation will be led by Pastor J.B. Kump from the Great Outdoors Church. Good to see you, J.B. Always good to see you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. What an honor it is to present the opening prayer for this meeting tonight. If you'll join me. Heavenly Father, we're grateful to be able to approach you this evening at the beginning of this important meeting to give you thanks and praise. We're thankful to you for equipping those who are willing to take on the task of governing. We know it exacts a price in their personal and family lives that they can never be fully compensated for in this life. We're thankful for our system of government and for the will of the governed to support it. We ask now for your wisdom to guide the discussions here tonight. Grant us the insight to see beyond the surface, the discernment to understand the implications of our choices, and the courage to make decisions that honor you and serve the benefit of the community. Help us now to put aside personality and favorite agendas, especially when they counter the better good. May all here work together in humility and respect and for the good of all. May the words and actions of all tonight reflect integrity, compassion, and justice. We trust in your guidance as we begin this meeting in your name. And now may the Lord bless thee and keep thee. The Lord make his face to shine upon thee and be gracious unto you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you so much. Okay, I'd like to ask Commissioner Feltner to lead us in the pledge.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we are officially called to order, and we have no minutes slated on our agenda for approval. We do have resolutions. We'll start with Resolution E1, resolution proclaiming May 2026 as Older Americans Month. I'd like to read the resolutions, but ask the representatives here that are here to receive our resolution to step up to the rostrum for us. Whereas it's the desire of the Brevard County Board of County Commissioners and the Brevard Commission on Aging to celebrate the enormous contributions of our older citizens in the strengthening and prosperity of Brevard County, and whereas Brevard County represents the 21st largest elder population in Florida, and approximately 26% of Brevard County's total population is 65 years of age or older, and whereas older citizens are a diverse and treasured link to our heritage and join with citizens across the United States in the promotion of the national theme of Aging Without Limits. And whereas, in keeping with the national theme, we recognize United Way Space Coast Interim President M.E. Kelly, celebrating a long history of public service as a United States Air Force veteran, a former Brevard County Sheriff Deputy, and currently volunteers on several boards. And whereas we also recognize former Brevard County Commissioner and current City of West Melbourne Council member Helen Volz for her dedication to seniors and all citizens for more than 30 years, including nursing, volunteering, and serving on several committees and campaigns, and by their examples, continue to remain engaged in successful community activities. Whereas we applaud their work to combat ageism and engage with fellow citizens throughout the county, citizens and other nonprofit organizations, and advocate on behalf of seniors and their families. As we know, connecting with others plays a vital role in the health and well-being of our community and our senior population. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of County Commissioners of Brevard County, Florida, does hereby proclaim May 2026 as Older Americans Month, done, ordered, and adopted in regular session this 5th day of May, AD 2026. That's our resolution. Thank you. You may be heard.
I'd like to thank the Commission for recognizing May as Older Americans Month and for this opportunity to honor two of our senior citizens who are still very, very active. Our first senior citizen was involved in healthcare like myself, but she also sat in those chairs and did public service for many years and currently sits on the West Melbourne City Council. Her name is Helen Volz. She was born in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, moved to Florida, and the day after she got married in 1968, she and her husband, Norman, had celebrated their 52nd wedding anniversary in October of 2020, but unfortunately the following month he passed away. Together they raised 3 boys, 2 of whom have passed away. One from cystic fibrosis at the age of 19, and the other son was killed by a drunk driver at the age of 27. Her life hasn't been easy, but she's tough. The youngest son, Brad, is an engineer and married to Brandy and recently celebrated their 10th anniversary. After the death of her first son, Helen went to school to become a registered nurse. And after working as a nurse for several years, she became involved in politics and served on the Palm Bay City Council and then 8 years on the Brevard County Commission. While serving on the County Commission, she also attended school and received a bachelor's degree from Barry University and an MBA from Webster University. She was very proud of the fact that she worked and went to school at the same time to get these accomplishments. Since retiring in 2009, Helen has been volunteering with multiple organizations. She's the current president of the Federated Republican Women in Action in Palm Bay. Helen has also volunteered on multiple campaigns and has been the campaign manager for several local, judicial, and congressional candidates. For 12 years, she volunteered as an RN at the summer camp for disabled adults and volunteered one summer with deaf children at Saratoga Camp Endeavor. And she is also taking care of many seniors in the community on a volunteer basis. And so I'd like to maybe give the mic to Helen for a minute.
I think I did a lot there. Well, I would just say I'm going to give all the glory to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, for giving me all the energy that I have, because without him, I would not be able to do what I do. And thank you.
Thank you for being here. Thank you.
It's truly an honor to recognize someone who so perfectly embodies the spirit of aging without limits. Kelly's life has been defined by service, strength, and an unwavering commitment to others. She began her journey in public service as a member of the United States Air Force and continued that path as a deputy with the Brevard County Sheriff's Office. In every role, she has shown courage, discipline, and a deep sense of purpose. And while some might look at retirement as a time to slow down, Kelly saw it as an opportunity to do even more. At 74 years young, Kelly is anything but retired in spirit. She is a constant force for good, deeply involved in her church, serving as a board member and active volunteer, and lending her leadership to numerous nonprofit organizations across the community. Her impact is not only broad but lasting. Through her work with Habitat for Humanity, Kelly helped lead the development of the first all-female military members and retirees build right here in Brevard County. This initiative was so powerful, it was later adopted nationwide. And when United Way Space Coast needed steady, experienced leadership during a time of transition, Kelly did not hesitate. She stepped forward once again, answering the call to serve as interim president, guiding the organization with the same integrity and dedication that has defined her entire life. Kelly shows us that purpose doesn't retire. Leadership does not age out, and service has no limits. She is proof that the impact of a life dedicated to others only grows stronger with time. Kelly, thank you for your leadership, your service, and for inspiring all of us to live and give without limits.
I'll be done here in June. I'm looking for a job. I want to thank you all. Growing old is not an option, but I'm never going to grow up, and I thank you guys, and it's all him. All him.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So a resolution for the, a motion for the proclamation would be in order.
I'll make a motion, sir.
I'd like to second that.
Motion and second. All in favor say yay.
Yay.
Yay. Carries unanimously. Thank you so much. We have a photo. We have the
Thank you.
actual proclamation here. Yeah, please. Okay, thank you so much for being here. Okay, we have a presentation of the 2026 Florida 4-H FPL Public Speaking winners. This is one of my favorite presentations every year by the County Commission, and I would love to ask the 4-H winner to approach the podium and say a few words and then give us a little talk.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight. We are very pleased to have our program showcased tonight, starring one of our very talented Brevard County students. The 4-H program, Public Speaking, is sponsored by Florida Power and Light. So 4-H is a youth development program focused on teaching youth life skills such as public speaking and critical thinking through participation in clubs, project work, camps, in-school activities, and much more. The public speaking program allows students to learn how to formulate a speech meaningful to them, as well as learning how to deliver it to an audience. This year, we had just over 450 participants from 7 schools. The winners in the 4th and 5th grades and 6th grade school competitions competed last week to determine our county winners. The 4th and 5th grade county winner is Finley Russell from Indiana Elementary School, who unfortunately was unable to attend this evening. But tonight, you will be hearing a speech from our 6th grade county winner from St. Teresa Catholic School, McKinley Jones.
Great, McKinley, join us.
Imagine a world without physics. No predictable orbits, no understanding how light works, and no calculus. But in the 17th century, one man provided the evidence for a clockwork universe. And from there on out, we have never seen our stars or ourselves the same again. Do you know who Isaac Newton is? What about you? Or you guys? Well, if you don't, 2 key things to know is that Isaac Newton's ongoing dedication and intelligence are 2 main things that helped him reach his goals throughout life. Do you know the story of the apple falling from the apple tree, hitting Newton on the head? Yeah, that's more of a myth than an actual truth. Newton was actually standing in that garden and witnessed the apple fall from the apple tree and wondered, why do objects fall straight down? Newton started his research on this topic. During this period of research, Newton found out the reasons objects fall straight is because Earth's gravity acts as an outside force, compelling objects to the center of the Earth, causing them to fall straight. During this period, Newton also found out that Earth's gravity is also compelling our moon to the center of the Earth, keeping it in orbit with us. All of this research shows us how dedicated Newton actually was to finding out how our world and its gravity works. By applying his incredible intelligence, Newton developed 3 fundamental principles that connect force, mass, and motion so that we can understand them. Do you know the laws of motion and who they were created by? Well, of course, they were created by Isaac Newton. But the first law is the law of inertia, which states, an object at rest stays at rest, and an object in motion stays in motion with the same speed and direction unless acted upon by an unbalanced force. The second law is the law of action and reaction, which has the equation of force equals mass times acceleration. The third and final law is the law of force and acceleration, which states for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. In conclusion, Isaac Newton's ongoing dedication and intelligence are why he was able to reach his goals through life. It is hard to overstate the impact of one individual, but Isaac Newton's contribution to physics, astronomy, mathematics, calculus, and more truly reshaped our world, making it how it is today. Lastly, Isaac Newton was never boastful, even having a quote saying, "If I had made any valuable discoveries, it has been owning more to patient attention than to any other talent." Showing Isaac Newton is a great example of how one person can change our world. Maybe one day that person can be you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That is fantastic. That gives us hope for the future, doesn't it? All right, thank you so much. Okay, E1, we will do that later. Not hear that today. And moves us to F, consent agenda. We have 2 cards on the consent agenda. A few cards, not 2. So we will begin with F1, Stell Bailey. I did.
Stell Bailey, Cocoa, Florida. I was actually going to speak on F1, the approval of FDEP, because we're already seeing real-world examples of this at the Titusville Mall in Titusville, Florida. At their redevelopment project, it could bring housing, business, and economic activity to that area, and it has been delayed due to the contamination that's migrating from a neighboring station. This contamination is tied to past underground fuel release and is still present in the groundwater today. What's important to understand is the cleanup programs that already exist that we're talking about. The state has been managing petroleum contamination site for years, but what we're seeing in Titusville suggests there may be a gap between how these sites are managed and the real-world impacts on property owners and redevelopment. Even when a site is technically in a cleanup program, that doesn't always mean it's being resolved in a time frame that works for the community or for the economic development. Projects can sit stalled for years while contamination is just monitored, and we're seeing that on this property. If you walk throughout the parking lot, there are monitoring wells throughout it, and his project has been halted. This is why this grabbed my attention. It's not fully remediated in a way that allows progress. So my question and my hope tonight is that this type of agreement strengthens coordination, accountability, and urgency, that it helps move sites like this toward actual resolution, not just long-term monitoring, management. Because when contamination spreads beyond property lines, it affects people who didn't cause it, including developers trying to invest in our communities. If this program can help bridge that gap and move cleanups forward in a more effective timeline, then it could be a real benefit, not just countywide, but specifically for places like the Titusville Mall. Thank you.
Thank you. Kind of brings real life to the real problem. So the next item is F2. Rick Heffelfinger.
Rick Heffelfinger, District 1, 2000 Juniper Drive. First of all, I'd like to say something about the young lady that just spoke. I hope there's a NASA recruiter in the audience, because that one's a keeper. She did a fine job. All right, F2. This one drew my attention because it says that it's about impact fees. And we've had some discussion about impact fees. And this is, of course, the school board. But the school board has recognized, which I think the county would take some note of, that when people move in, they are impacted. So they are paying for additional schools, additional capabilities, and I think it's a good lesson. And they're not afraid to, charge a developer that builds a residential and say, hey, you got kids, we need to have some money to pay for the kids. And I just wanted to say that. And I also wanted to say $24.2 million collected by the impact fee, that's nothing to sneeze at. And there's that's just for Brevard as far as I know, because there's a bunch of charts. I didn't go through all of them. But it says the residential development requires to pay for impact to school capacity capability. Kudos to the school board for anticipating the development and the boom we get, that they pay for their facilities. And that is just the people that are moving in and all these apartments, they're bringing kids. So let's keep that in mind, because I will be back up here a little later. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next item is F4, Rick Heffelfinger. I should have been quicker. I could have saved you a few steps. And you're going to be F5 too, so.
Okay, well, I think I can probably knock those two out together. What I wanted to say, you're going to love this. This is about F4 is getting us some federal money. Good job to staff, staying on top of it. 11.2 million is available if we meet that and sign up to the agreement. So that's not on my tax bill anymore. Thank you. And also a good job to the staff on F5, because that's 1.99 million of grant money. And this is just, I assume this is just putting in the paperwork to say we qualify. So another thank you, staff, because that's also not money I have to spend. And that's what I had to say about that.
We have F10.
Oh, F10, that would be me too. This is about the sale of a piece of property that is in Space, where? Space Park, or I guess it's owned by the county, which means it's owned by all of us. And I guess this business that was started in with embeds, they're a startup. I don't know if I could ask the question, I don't know if they got a tax abatement, but it's a small business. They put a good position together about what they bring to the community. They're growing, that's good. But they wanted to buy the lot, and my question was, that requires a supermajority vote, right, when you sell a piece of property? Does anybody know can I ask a question?
Sure.
Okay, so a supermajority. Was there an appraisal done? Because it looks like they just came in and said, hey, we'd like to buy the property, and it's, we want 3 acres for 195. And I know that Elon Musk is probably going to be hunting for property soon. So is that a good enough number for that piece of property to let them build on it? It's 3 acres. And I thought there had to be an appraisal, so we didn't get, because they made the offer. Did we counter? Are we going to counter? This might be Morris's question, right? Is this his item?
Whoever be appropriate that
okay.
they can answer.
Again, you guys don't have to answer. I understand that, but I
I understand, but we can get staff to answer that and work this issue, yeah.
Hello, so I'm Troy Post with the county in the Planning and Development Office. And when the MBES was in operation, we would occasionally have a market valuation report done. I think the last one was done in 2022 to kind of give us a gauge as to what real estate prices were going to be. But it's important to recognize that this property is considered an economic incentive. We try to go after firms that have a significant capital investment, that are growing, going to create jobs, and that's probably a bigger consideration than the price per acre.
Okay, so you're saying that the price may be low, but it's an economic incentive to have them build and expand their business.
It is, because right now the property, the county owns it, it's off the property tax rolls, so the county's not getting any money for it. If we're able to induce somebody to buy it, to build a new facility, $3-4 million, that goes on the property tax rolls.
Okay.
The other consideration is that these lots are undeveloped. They exist just wooded lots. And so whoever goes in there to buy these lots has extensive site preparation work that they also have to do.
Right, and that being hooked up to utilities the county makes, and they pay taxes. And
that's correct.
Do you know if they happen to have a? I'm sorry.
No, go
If they
ahead.
happen to have a previous tax abatement from NBES, or was that through the?
I am not aware of any tax abatement. I know that they currently lease space in the building now, so this would be their first attempt to own their own property. So.
Oh, I assume this was an empty building. They're going to expand it then. Is that what they're?
They're going to expand by building a new building to accommodate their operation.
On that new piece of property that we're getting?
That's
okay.
correct.
And I guess my only heartburn with that is, when you don't have an appraisal to compare to what you're selling it, it's hard to tell how much incentive you're giving them. And that's, because.
So again, the market.
I don't want everybody to lose money because that's county property. So it'd be nice to have a number, if an appraisal, to know how much of a deal they're getting.
So one last comment. I don't want to drag out your meeting, but again, we do have a market valuation report that had been done, I think, as recently as 2022. And that would typically tell us what price per acre going industrial property is for in the county. So we would use that as a gauge when we would weigh those offers with the NBES board.
Okay.
Okay, great.
That wasn't on here, so I didn't know how good a deal they were getting. It wasn't listed. It was only their offer. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
And I think I'm done. Now you can vote on consent unless somebody else is going to waste your time. Ask some questions.
Well, thank you for your questions, and I think, any
Thank you.
questions from the board on the consent agenda, any items that are removed? I think a motion would be in order for the consent.
I'd like to move to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Atkinson for consent agenda.
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Feltner. All those in favor say yea.
Yay.
Yay.
Yea. Carries unanimously. Thank you so much. Okay, we will now move to I, public hearings.
TSMG cards.
Oh, yeah, gee, I missed public comments. That's right. Adrian Vargas.
I have some pamphlets.
Yes, absolutely.
Good evening. My name is Adrian Vargas. I live in the woods at Crooked Mile on Merritt Island. I'm here to bring awareness about an ongoing peacock issue affecting multiple homes and neighborhoods. Before I explain any further, I'd like to play a 10-second audio clip of what I am speaking about. Oh no, don't tell me it's not going to work.
It always happens. Don't rush, we're fine.
Okay. Let me try. I practiced all before I got here.
I know, I feel your pain.
Here we go. So unfortunately, this is not a one-time occurrence. This is happening regularly all night long. Our neighborhood currently has 40 to 50 peacocks, with new chicks continuing to hatch, so population is actively growing. Our HOA has taken steps, including sending notices and asking residents not to feed them, but compliance has been inconsistent, not only within our community, but also the surrounding areas without an HOA. Because of this, the issue continues to expand beyond what any single neighborhood can manage. Residents have followed guidance from the Florida Fish and Wildlife including removing food sources, using deterrents like sprinklers, and trimming trees to prevent roosting. Unfortunately, these efforts have not been effective. We've also contacted both the FWC and the Brevard Sheriff's Office and told that the situation falls outside of their scope for active removal. As a result, there is currently no agency addressing this issue. This has gone beyond a nuisance. Residents are dealing with property damage, sanitation concerns, and safety risks involving traffic and pedestrians. There's also a significant quality of life impact. Families are being awakened as early as 2, 3, 4 a.m., and both adults and children are experiencing ongoing sleep disruption. There are several neighbors here tonight to support me and who are also experiencing these same issues. Because this spans multiple parcels and neighborhoods, it's not feasible for one HOA or an individual resident to coordinate or fund a solution like hiring a wildlife trapper. In 2012, the city of Cocoa Beach addressed a similar issue by hiring a licensed trapper. We are asking the county to consider a similar approach or help coordinate a solution. At this point, there is no longer just an HOA issue. It's a broader community problem that requires county-level support. I provided a packet for the board that includes a petition with over 30 signatures, resident impact statements, photos documenting what our community is experiencing, and prior correspondence with the Commissioner's Office and the Brevard County Sheriff's Office. Thank you for your time and consideration, and we look forward to your response.
Mr. Chair, can I ask a question?
Yes, absolutely.
I have a great deal of empathy, especially with neighbors and noise. So I'm with you. Now, I have some friends in Cape Canaveral, and I think maybe the original peacock herd started there. There's a rumor of
I've heard all the rumors, yes.
2 birds that someone got a long time ago, and of course, and I think they do call it a herd. Possibly. Anyways. And I know all the challenges, so I'm curious. Now, do you know what Cape Canaveral has done with birds? Have they removed them?
I believe they also hired the same trapper.
Okay. And then, so someone comes in, they trap the bird, then what happens?
The trapper removes them, and I'm not sure if they relocate them or what they do with them.
Is there, I don't pretend to know enough about peacocks. Is there a state habitat or something like that? Are they...
I've called the Bird Wildlife Refuge in North Merritt Island. I've called the zoo. I've called a lot of people, and nobody seems to want them. I got you.
Okay. Okay. I'll think about that too. I don't know of any parcel in Brevard that's been used before for peacocks and other birds and such with peacocks. I mean, we have scrub jay sanctuary, we have other things like that, but...
From my understanding, it's illegal for us to relocate them.
For homeowners to relocate them?
Yes, so what a licensed person can do, I'm not sure.
Okay, so FWC could do it, a licensed trapper by FWC can do it, but...
Yes, but FWC says that the peacocks are domesticated fowl, and the Brevard County Sheriff's Office says that they're wildlife, so they both go like this.
Okay. Well, I think that's an important part of the equation is figuring out where they would go, and that's probably the thing that's hanging you up.
Yes.
Today.
Very much.
I see that. I'll see. We'll get your information. I'll see if I can at least find an answer from potentially the state or something like that.
Thank you very much.
All right.
I know my mom lives on South Merritt Island, and they are dangerous when you're driving down there. They don't seem to pay attention to cars. They just walk right across. I've had to dodge a few. And
people slam on their brakes.
Yes.
And, yeah.
They're a problem, and I have heard them on the mainland all the way across the river. That loud. So, anything.
I have more audio if you ever want to listen.
Yeah. Well, they're exotics. They're not native to Florida.
Correct.
So they're not naturally here. We used to have bobcats on Merritt Island. Still have some coyotes, but the bobcats probably would help take care of that problem, and I don't
It's an
think we
option.
have many of those anymore.
Just being thought.
We used to actually have Florida Panthers on, I've heard witnesses, talked to witnesses, seen Florida Panthers. Didn't worry about the peacocks then. But yes, I appreciate you being
Okay,
here, and I'm
thank
sure
you,
we'll
guys.
we'll be looking at it.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thanks for the recording. Okay, our next, John Rieger? Requor?
John's close enough.
Pardon me? Just John. John works. Okay.
Good evening. My name is John Requay. I'm from 908 Cashew Circle, Barefoot Bay. I was here and spoke to you before on September the 3rd of 2025. And I spoke about the cost of the water and the sewer plant in Barefoot Bay and the surrounding communities. On September the 10th of 2025, at a county commission's meeting, Mrs. Kim Atkinson made a motion to direct staff to have the rate consultant to study and authorize the Utility Service Department to explore options regarding outstanding bond debt. She also agreed and stated in the Tatler that the cost of the bond should be spread over the district, which is all we've been asking for. Since then, the delivery rate to the meter has gone up $4.22, making the cost $79.48 before usage. So a single occupant like myself pays $110 a month for water, which I feel is very expensive. December the 18th of 2025, I sent questions to the director of Brevard County and Sewer, Mr. Edward Fontaine, and I sent a copy of it to Ms. Atkinson. Those 4 questions that I tried to get answered are, what was the cost of the bond in the beginning, which I believe was year 2000? How much has been collected so far? How much remains to be collected by 2029 when the bond is exhausted? And how much has been spent on bringing the water and sewer plant up to date, which was part of the arrangements made? I believe the residents have a right to have these questions answered at the very least. The issue affects Barefoot Bay, Snug Harbor, and Sebastian Lakes. So we're talking thousands and thousands of houses, over 5,000. Brevard County owns the water and sewer plant. The burden of the bond should be consumed by the entire district. This is the worst deal I have ever heard of in my life. It reeks with waste, fraud, and abuse. I'm hoping that you will give this some thought and some action on this. My second time here. It's only gotten worse. It's going to get much worse. One of the things that provoked me to do this was when the director of Brevard County Water and Sewer Plant came to our community. I asked him what the fees of the new plant was going to be in 5 years, $51 million plant. He had no answer. That's wrong. So I thank you for your time.
Thank you. The next speaker, Dominic Scafetta. Scafetta.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to me tonight. My name's Dominic Scafetta. I've already contacted many of you about this matter. Like the other lady, I'm having difficulty with my phone and I forgot my notes, so bear with me. I've been unable to find a commissioner or a common sense resolution since this all began on March 18th. I'm in the process of building a house for my son at 6900 Shervin Avenue in Canaveral Groves. It's a dirt road and it's fed by 2 dirt roads. On March 18th, I contacted Brevard County and requested the next inspection, but they declined because they said I needed to pay a $10,000 impact fee. I looked into the impact fee a little bit, and about $4,400 of that is for transportation, which is for road improvements. Well, because we're on a dirt road, on the 19th, the next day, I contacted Katie Delaney's office in District 1 on the phone and by email and explained that I'd already been in contact with the They're a great staff, the fine staff at Road and Bridges. They've been doing the best they can, but they're sorely understaffed, and they don't have enough equipment to maintain all the dirt roads in the county. In October of 2024, when I first contacted them, our road was virtually impossible. If there was a fire, my house would have burnt down. So anyway, it's a safety issue, and it's just a transportation issue. They explained the maintenance was every 3 to 4 weeks, and they're understaffed. And this is no way meant to disparage them at all. They're doing the best they can. On March 28th, I received a response from Kristen Lordy from D1. And this is a quote from her response, which is very disturbing to me. Even though the road is not paved, it is still maintained. But no one thinks it's maintained to the degree it needs to be. And the next thing she said was that the transportation impact fees support capacity improvements, new sidewalks, road widenings, and intersection improvements. It does not fund staff, equipment, or maintenance. We're on a dirt road. That's what we need. We need more staff or equipment or maintenance, or we need to have the road paved. And I know that's an enormous expense. So my request is simple. I'm just requesting that the commissioners do what you did in 2016, at least for this particular instance, and waive the transportation portion of the impact fee. It's the only thing that makes logical sense. It's common sense in this case, and I don't know who to talk to. I've been working and working and working trying to find someone that can resolve this issue for me, and so far I can't get any resolution.
Okay, do we have any questions? Thank you so much. We'll definitely follow up. I have some questions that
Well, I know that Katie's gone now, so it's going to be difficult for, oh, my paper's stuck in this.
Yeah.
It's going to be difficult to get,
well,
I don't know who should I work with?
Yeah, we're gonna try to make sure it's not difficult.
Okay, I appreciate that, okay.
Yeah, and I think you made, we'll definitely make sure that the staff, we fill that void of not having her there, a rep there. We need her. Because your problem is all throughout the county. And
I think we're a little bit unique because of the fact that I understand with the impact fees. Another gentleman spoke about impact fees, and of course we need impact fees when we're developing new property. But in this case, I've been told point blank that you're not going to get the service you need from the fee that you're paying. And it's not common sense. It's just nonsensical. And I know that you guys have the authority to do it because you did it in 2016. So anyway, I don't want to take up any more of your time. Thank you.
thank you very much. Appreciate it. True. JC?
It's me with a bad handwriting again.
No, it's, how do you pronounce your first name?
Chelsea.
Chelsea, of course.
I even tried to write it again more nicely.
I saw
and it didn't
that.
work.
There's two Chelsea.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Chelsea True, and I'm a Merritt Island resident, speaking in regards to the rezoning scheduled for May 7th regarding Rangewater and Merritt Bidco. This application has now been ongoing since November. Over the past 6 months, it's gone through multiple continuances with the explanation that the project is still evolving. At some point, that becomes more than just process. It becomes signal. A project that is changing after multiple hearings and 6 months of review is not a stable or clearly defined proposal. At the last continuance, the applicant requested additional time to potentially acquire more land, modify the number of units, and revise site access. However, according to the recent staff report, no update application reflects those changes, and they haven't been submitted as of its publication. That reinforces the concern that the plan before you is still not fully developed. The record also shows that during the same time period, a separate request was submitted under the Live Local Act. That adds another layer of uncertainty as multiple potential paths are being explored without a single clear, finalized plan before the board. And that matters because the board is being asked to make a decision that has long-term impacts on infrastructure, safety, and the surrounding community.
I also want to briefly address how community input has been characterized in recent filings submitted on April 24th by Kim Razanka. Residents like myself who have taken time to write, attend meetings, and speak are not submitting abstract opinions. We're raising real, lived concerns about traffic, flooding, safety, and how this project fits into their community. These perspectives are an important part of the record and should be considered alongside technical reports, not dismissed. In recent filings, the applicant has argued that many of the key concerns, particularly traffic and infrastructure, are only subject to preliminary review at this stage, with more detailed analysis deferred to site plan. But that is exactly the issue. If the impacts are not fully understood today, then the project is not ready for approval today. We're also being told that traffic is not a deficiency, while at the same time, mitigation measures and improvements are being offered. Those positions don't fully align. If improvements are necessary, then impacts exist, and those impacts should be clearly understood before approval, not after. There are also still open questions about zoning, site control, and environmental constraints that affect what can realistically be built on this property. Taken together, these are not small details. They go directly to whether this project is clearly defined, feasible, and ready for approval. Additionally, comparisons to other potential uses, such as a hospital, do not answer the question in front of you. The question is not what could be built. The question is whether the specific proposal is appropriate, compatible, and ready. At this stage, the board should have a clear, stable, and fully supported proposal in front of it. That level of clarity is what allows for a confident and defensible decision. Based on what has been presented over the past 6 months, that level of clarity still does not appear to be here. So the question becomes, if it's not fully resolved now, what confidence is that it will be resolved later? Based on that record, I do not believe this application is ready for approval, and I thank you again for your time.
Well done, right on time. Thank you so much.
And you know that that item is on the agenda for Thursday night, correct?
Good, good. Natalie Allen, that's who just spoke. Nope, that was Natalie. Natalie. Yeah, no, Chelsea.
Hi, I'm Natalie Allen, and I'm a resident of Brevard, and I wanted to speak to you guys today about a lighthearted conversation of just civic engagement. It is Cinco de Mayo after all, right? And there's so many lovely faces here in the audience coming out to support the community. I had the opportunity to attend one of your board meetings last month, and Rob actually mentioned that there was an art festival going on, so it's just a beautiful place to be able to hear about events, see the individuals that Brevard votes for, and have an opportunity to meet and understand some of the hot topics that are out here. Natalie Allen, as a Brevard resident, I'm also interested in hearing about ways to get involved in the community. So a funny story. I was out gardening yesterday, just in my front yard, doing my own thing and speaking to myself about what I was going to say tonight. And as I was practicing, my neighbor, who I had not met after moving in recently, came outside and said, "Natalie, did you know we have a Brevard Democrats meeting and a Republican meeting as well? Why don't you come out on the third Tuesday of the month?" And these different dates she just started throwing out. And I said to myself, if I wasn't out here gardening tonight and just minding my own business and having a friendly conversation, I wouldn't have heard about these events. So I said to her, "Becky, why don't you just come to one of the board meetings?" So we made a plan to start coming to these events together. And it's just a simple way to point out to everyone here that these conversations, like the one I had with Chelsea True and her lovely daughter and son right before we started on zoning, these are topics that I wouldn't know were burning in the community and things that are just on the minds of individuals that might not know how to be engaged. So my reason for being here today is just to point out my passion for engagement. I look for ways, whether it's online, whether it's in-person opportunities like this, whether it's hanging out just across the hall and meeting individuals like Dell. It's a beautiful place to just see and meet the faces that we could potentially be working with one day. I thank all of you for serving in your roles. Very challenging. I'm sure you've done it for a long time. And I just invite you to continue to do what you've been doing. Engage individuals like myself, Natalie Allen, and help us meet who Brevard votes for.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for being here and engaging. And you actually picked a good meeting to attend because we got the Susan B. Connolly Speak at Brevard
Is that right?
on the agenda, so you couldn't have picked a better time to be here.
I see.
So it's dedicated for a lot of public involvement.
Well,
So,
it's interesting because when I was walking in this morning or this afternoon, I ran into you as well.
Yes.
And I remember complimenting your MacBook. So it's just funny because you never know who you'll run into. IT conversations, AI conversations, being able to level up your conversational skills too. Having heard some of the speakers, as young as they are, standing up here, it's inspirational.
Thank you.
Thank
you
you.
so much. Appreciate that. Public involvement is what makes this all happen. Okay, good. That concludes our first public hearing section of our agenda. The next item is board discussion and directions to staff on the, no, I missed one. Extension of temporary moratorium for new application of biosolids to lands within Brevard County. We do have a card. Estelle Bailey.
Estelle Bailey, Coco. I wanted to talk about this because I've been on this for many, many years, as you know, with the PFAS contamination. And then first and foremost, I want to thank the county staff and specifically Virginia Barker. I don't know if she's in the room right now, but if it wasn't for their work, we wouldn't be where we're at today with this moratorium. And their continued work is very important to this issue. At its core, this issue is really simple. It's about what we're putting on the ground and where it ends up. Biosolids contain nutrients like nitrogen and phosphorus, and while that might sound harmless, when too much of it is spread on the land, it doesn't just stay there. When it rains, it moves into our ditches, our canals, our rivers, and ultimately into the water we rely on every single day. We've already seen what that can lead to: harmful algal blooms, damaged waterways, and added strain on our drinking water supply. Lake Washington, which serves about 170,000 people, is directly connected to this conversation. And the data shows something important. Areas with more biosolids application are seeing higher levels of pollution in their water. Areas with less application are not. This board has taken a careful and responsible approach over the years by putting this moratorium in place and continuing it as we learn more. That's proactive. That's exactly what good governance looks like. It's not rushing, it's not guessing, but protecting what matters most while we get it right. Because once water is contaminated, fixing it is far more expensive and far more difficult than preventing the problem in the first place. This isn't about being for or against any industry. It's about protecting our water, our property values, and the quality of life that people in Brevard County depend on. So I respectfully ask you continue this moratorium, continue Virginia Barker's hard work on this, and thank you to this commission and your leadership for putting the health and safety of residents first. Thank you.
Thank you. Any comments, questions? Okay, thank you so much. And I think a motion would be in order.
Well, you don't want Mike to introduce it because I'm ready to make a motion to approve, unless Mike wants to talk.
Just here if you have questions. I don't need to talk. You've already.
All right, then I'll make a motion to approve.
There's a motion and a second. This is a good thing. This is the moratorium. We're seeing significant reduction of the application of biosolids here in Brevard, and look forward to the day when it gets to zero. I know the state has been very active as well, so I appreciate your input, and I agree with you. We have phenomenal staff here in the county. We appreciate what they're doing. All in favor say yay.
Yay.
Opposed?
Yay. Yay.
Motion carries unanimously. Okay, thank you so much.
Good job, Mike.
Okay, now, item I1, board discussion, direction to staff, Commission 1, District 1 staffing. We have a couple cards. First is Estelle Bailey.
All right. Estelle Bailey, District 1 resident, and I support option 1, retaining the current District 1 staff member. This is really about consistency of service, efficiency, and clear accountability. People in North Brevard still need help with everyday issues like trash pickup, permits, and knowing where to go for assistance. I understand there may be a desire to shift these responsibilities to other commissioner offices or to county staff, but as outlined, that would require deciding who handles the workload, how it rotates, and how citizens' input gets routed back to commissioners. That creates unnecessary layers and confusion for residents. Routing everything through county administration also adds steps since policy issues still have to be sent back to commission offices. Similarly, routing everything through the county manager or attorney's office still requires issues of policy to be sent back to commission offices, meaning it adds an extra step without truly solving the problem. Option 1 is the most straightforward and responsible. It keeps a dedicated local point of contact that we have grown to trust and love, maintains accountability with District 1, avoids shifting workload or expanding bureaucracy, and importantly, this is a temporary solution just to maintain service until a new commissioner is elected and hires their own staff. District 1 residents didn't create this vacancy, and we shouldn't lose access to a responsive local support because of it. I respectfully ask you to choose stability and keep that line of communication open. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, Rick Heffelfinger.
Rick Heffelfinger, District 1. Near and dear to our hearts, isn't it? I'm going to have to agree with Stell. I know she's my opposition now, but I'm going to agree with her. Unless you guys are going to have a discussion and tell us that the governor's going to pick. And I don't want to waste my time saying I'd rather have a continuation of staff. So I don't know where you're going to come down on it. I'm looking for some information you guys might have had. There was discussion in the board reports about contacting the governor. I don't know if you've done that. I would hope that well, I don't know. If one of you did, it'd be nice to hear that. I don't know if the county manager did that to try to get some guidance on what he would think. I love the idea of somebody that worked in that office with my previous commissioner is listening to the community because she knows the community. She knows her district. Nobody else on this list does. So I would hope that we keep somebody in there that's point of contact. I do have, although I have one small little problem. Currently, does staff go to the briefings that you guys are given as commissioners? Do they attend the briefings that you get from the county manager? Or is it just you guys? Because this person, Kristen, is not going to be able to vote. So I just wonder, are you giving her access for what reason would that be? Insider baseball, or does it help her? I mean, she can come to these meetings too and understand what's going on in the community, but I don't know what access they're given. But she's, we're not going to have anybody that votes. But it's, at least somebody answers the phone, and it's somebody that we're familiar with, because she was answering the phone before, or one of the other people in the office. So I would like to see there be continuity and know that we've got somebody. And then, like staff always, I guess, assume you guys staff. If you have a problem, you work with other staff, you work with the county. And that, I think, would be a good way to make sure that when we've got problems, at least it's, paid attention to. So, again, I'm interested to hear what you found out about what the governor would do. I mean, it's a short duration, but it is budget season, too. That scares me. So, yep, that's all. Thanks.
Thank you. And the answer is yes, we do give her staff access to those briefings. And another yes, we have sent a letter to the governor. It's up to each individual commissioner what they like to do. We're not, I think our decision was not to take this position as a board, but each individual has that right, and citizens do as well.
Just to clarify, sir,
Yes.
I did not send a letter to the governor.
Okay.
Nor did I.
Okay. Commissioner Goodson, did you? No, you don't have to answer that. Okay, great. Thank you.
I have one comment, Chair.
Okay.
Okay, the last meeting, if I'm not mistaken, Delaney made the motion to keep her staff, and there was no second, so it died without a motion. Second. So now, do we go back and consider number one, or do we start on 2, 3, and 4?
I think a good point. I think what we decided at the last meeting was to wait. We didn't have to decide it. Talk about it now, and I've So that's what we decided. I didn't want to interrupt. Did you have anything else, Commissioner?
Well, I guess what I would ask you, can somebody go back and check the minutes now to see if she did not have a second on number 1?
We could check on that, but I recall us deciding, and I've thought a lot about it, having time to think about it, and I've come to the personal conclusion we should just go with option 1 and allow the staff that's there to work there. They were working with the elected commissioner. We need to make sure that District 1 has as best representation as possible. So I would support option 1.
I actually have pretty strong feelings about this myself. I would prefer to have the county manager put someone in that position who can be there 5 days a week, all day, to answer the concerns of all the constituents, so that no one gets lost. And then if there are things that need to come to a commissioner, I would ask the county manager to make sure that, I mean, my office is certainly willing to take up a charge if necessary for a D1 resident. I would prefer to have someone in the office full-time that reports to the county manager. And then you delegate to whatever offices are open to that. That would be my preference.
Question, is that a motion?
No, just discussion at the moment.
Do we have any other discussion?
I think something just to point out and to be mindful of, if there is an interim appointment, that's not up to us, that's up to the governor, then that person certainly has the right to appoint and hire their own commission staff. So just so that's clear, whatever the board does today.
Okay, any other discussion, comments, questions?
I'd like to make a motion if it's appropriate.
Okay, motion would be in order.
I'd like to make a motion to ask our county manager to appoint someone to be full-time in the D1 staff office, and when necessary, send it to a commissioner who's willing to take up the charge for that D1 resident.
I'll second that.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Any debate? All those in favor signify by saying yay.
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 Motion carries. Okay. Okay, was there any other discussion?
I think we have a time certain.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was going to bring that up too.
Okay, I'm sorry, sir. I didn't mean to.
No, I'm glad you mentioned that. I was thinking that.
Could it?
Do
I know
we
we
need a
have one.
time, a date? Would that take place? I know there's a letter that Kristen sent related to how long she could stay or be willing to stay. And I'd be willing to honor that. Are you familiar? I read the letter, my staff read it.
I would
to
say
me.
county staff must know what that letter
Yeah.
says.
The letter, she offered to stay on until May 31st in the email to run the office. So, I mean, board decision, I mean, you know, May 31st, we can run it through the end of a pay period, we could do it immediately. Those are a couple of suggestions off the top, a couple of suggestions off the top of my head.
I think we should just start with the new staff right now. I mean, if we're going to do it, we might as well do it right now and start and let that person get in the seat and get comfortable. That's my thought.
The board.
I agree with Kim.
Okay. If that's board direction, then we'll get working on it tomorrow.
Okay.
Do we need to have a motion on that or just board direction?
No, I don't think we
Wait
need a
for the-
motion, so got the direction.
All right.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, if I may, I know we have a 6 o'clock time certain for CEER, but
Right.
J2, I know there's an attorney in the audience, and it's going to be very brief, I believe. I'm sorry, J1.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I was thinking that too, sir. I didn't mean to step on you with the time certain there.
I mean, is there an attorney who can keep it brief? We'll find out.
We're all
Sorry,
paid by the
recess.
word, so I think Cliff Reppinger is just going to give you a thumbs up, so that's about as
All right,
brief as it
good.
comes.
Clifford Reppinger? Cliff.
Good evening. Honorable board members, my name is Cliff Reppinger. My business address is 2101 Waverly Place, Melbourne, Florida. I'm an attorney with the law firm of Whitebird, and we represent the applicant. On this item, with me today, I have the principals of the applicant, Eastwind Acquisitions. I don't know, Morris, do you want to do a setup, or do you want me to actually speak about this?
I could just introduce it briefly if that's
okay.
The pleasure of the board. So this is a development that's actually within the municipal boundaries of the city of Melbourne. Melbourne has already approved a multifamily development here. It's to the west of Wickham Road, roughly in the area of Longleaf Elementary, near, it's between Wickham Road and Windover Farms, roughly, so you're familiar. Again, they're within the city of Melbourne. They have approvals from city of Melbourne, but there are obviously going to be traffic impacts to Wickham Road. This is just a concurrency mitigation and right-of-way agreement that is going to provide for the developer to either construct or fund improvements to that segment of Wickham Road, either improvements right there in the form of a southbound left turn lane that would primarily just benefit that development, or more likely the county may apply those funds if developer goes the route of paying funds rather than constructing to another nearby project that's going to improve capacity, perhaps the northbound extension of the northbound right turn lane onto Pineda that's a planned project, something like that. So this is just an agreement for the developer to pay $118,454, which is based on an estimate of project cost and their share of contribution to the concurrency issue to Wickham there, and it will allow them to get a right-of-way use agreement so they can do a sewer connection.
Can I ask a technical?
Yes.
Just real quick. The southbound left turn lane there on Wickham would essentially be for those residents coming out to make a U-turn?
It actually doesn't go into the development.
I understand.
It's a southbound turn lane.
Yes,
that would,
correct.
That would go eastbound, right, for turning east. Right. So it's at the intersection of Preserve Drive.
Right.
But it's for.
That's what I'm saying, though. It doesn't turn into,
It doesn't turn into the development.
Right.
Right.
Okay. I think, my vote would be that we take the $118,000 to do improvements wherever else we need to do on Wickham Road.
And I think that agreement has the flexibility for that.
Right, that allows for that.
Okay.
We do have a card. Rick Heffelfinger.
I realize the time crunch. I'll be as fast as I can be. My problem with this is, this identifies in the description that there is a minor street delay also as part of this development. $118, you can't put concrete on my driveway, I know. So this must have just been for lining.
Well, 118,000.
Oh, 118.
118,000,
yeah.
Yes.
The turn lane on Friday Road with my development, 400,000 put a turn lane in. So this cannot be concrete, or this cannot be asphalt. And then the fact that you're going to divert it to some other project bothers me, because this talks about some traffic delays because of this entry or this egress into the development. I think the people that are impacted by this are going to be concerned if you divert that to some other project on Wickham Road, because I'm surprised I don't have anybody here from that development in the back. I'm sure they were thrilled that this development was going to happen right in the middle of their little pristine, undeveloped section there. But I don't like the fact that it seems low to do any real road improvements, and it also says, or we can just siphon it off. Siphon it off is the strong word, but we can move that money to some other project on Wickham. How far away? 2 miles? 1 mile? You haven't put any constraint, and then there was also a traffic impact. So, hey, I love the idea that the developer's coming forward and said, hey, I can mitigate that if you let me have my permit or my zoning approval. But if you're just going to siphon it off, that doesn't do anything for solving the problem at that intersection, which I think is a turn lane. So I don't think, you're going to end up doing some improvement as part of this, and then 118 barely scratches the surface. I mean, you can ask Tom Goodson. I think he's a asphalt guy. 118,000 don't go far for asphalt today. So that was my only concern, that it seems a little light, considering there is a traffic impact. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that's all our cards. That's back before the commission. Do we need a motion on this, don't we?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Motion be in order.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve.
There's a motion to approve the Eastwind Preserve Concurrency Mitigation and Right-of-Way Use Agreement.
I'll second that.
There's a second. All in favor, say yay.
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 Carries unanimously. Thank you so much. Now we'll move on to, thank you. To J2 is the last item on our agenda. This time was set for 6 o'clock time certain. Yeah, let's have a 5-minute break to make sure we get all the cards ready, and we have quite a few speakers that are going to be speaking, and we will be right back. 5 minutes.
Quick, just so I'm clear.
Okay, I'd like to call the meeting back to order. Okay, I'd like to ask our county administrator to give us a quick briefing of where we are.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Commissioners, we received 61 citizens, the efficiency and effectiveness recommendations from 44 individuals this year. County staff has spent several hundred hours thorough analyzing and reviewing the written recommendations. Per the Home Rule Charter, staff has made the following recommendations to the board, and it's in your package along with all the CEERs, that the board accepts with revision 17 of the CEER recommendations, that it rejects 44 of the recommendations received, and those rejections are based primarily on the fact that some of the recommendations received were either handled by staff as service requests, that the recommendations were out of the county jurisdiction, or the recommendations do not enhance the efficiency and effectiveness of the county government as required in the county charter. The board presented the staff's recommendations are presented to the board in a manner to allow the board to pass the recommendations in one motion, and if a commissioner wishes to discuss an individual CEER recommendation, it can be pulled for discussion after that vote's taken or given further direction. Thank the citizens. We put together, staff put together, you have blue, we call the speaker cards pink cards, but this time we put together blue cards and pink cards under the board's direction. We have blue cards, so that way the citizens have 5 minutes for their CEER, and then if citizens want to speak on the item as a regular agenda item, we have the pink card with their 3 minutes. And then last but not least, I want to thank everybody, thank the staff for working on it, but and then especially thank the citizens that put the recommendations together. We did take our time, we did take them seriously, we did go through everything. So I appreciate everything the citizens have done. Thanks, Mr. Chair.
Okay, what we will do is we will begin with the blue cards where individuals have signed up to speak on behalf of their individual CEER request, and these speakers will be given 5 minutes. So the first speaker we have is Robert Pickert. The CEER number is 2026045. That's the one I have. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, good evening, Commissioners. I am Bob Pickert, a resident of Brevard County, a lover of the Indian River Lagoon, and a lifelong environmental professional and sustainability consultant. I proposed a soil health moonshot to transform Brevard's sandy landscape soils into a sustainable living filter for the lagoon. I'd like to leave you with 3 thoughts. Embrace the muck. There are many beneficial uses. Embrace biochar. It absorbs water, adsorbs nutrients, and provides a home for beneficial soil microbes, making nutrients bioavailable to plants without leaching to the groundwater or the lagoon, and degrading organic chemicals. And embrace the lagoon as a living system, where more effort needs to be focused on enhancing sustainable natural stabilization and filtration systems. Biochar is a natural material with extremely high surface area, similar to activated carbon. It occurs naturally as a byproduct of forest fires and is a big part of why we see green shoots and such productive growth after forest fires. It can also be made from clean sources of wood waste through a process or conditions known as pyrolysis. I have watched from the sidelines as Team Sorrel has been busy with the Herculean task of restoring the lagoon. 2 years ago, I was shocked to learn the county had not analyzed any of the dewatered muck after removing nearly 800,000 cubic yards of muck. Since then, Sorrel staff has arranged to analyze 4 samples of dewatered muck from the Grand Canal muck dewatering site. Much more analysis is needed from all of the muck processing sites, but the muck is much lower in nitrogen, less than 1%, lower in phosphorus, less than 0.1% than I expected. The samples contain 7% organic carbon. I understand it can range from 10 to 30% carbon, and minerals such as sulfur, calcium, and magnesium. I've heard Sorrel staff and COC refer to the muck in public as quote-unquote toxic and nothing grows in the muck. The muck samples did contain arsenic, chromium, and copper in low concentrations consistent with background soil levels and government risk-based standards and well below fertilizer guidelines. I'm going to refer to this figure here. Sorrel staff did arrange for me to take samples of a partially dewatered muck from the Grand Canal Pineda muck dewatering site. That's the photo that you see there, some of it. I collaborated with Rodney Eaton of Eaton Worms, and I mixed 55% muck, 40% biochar, and 5% compost by weight. Rodney added some worm castings and observed explosive growth less than 1 week after adding ryegrass seed to the mix. The muck would likely serve as a good binder to produce fertilizer pellets, but more importantly, it would serve as a galvanizing force for soil health around the IRL. I have proposed a nutrient loading and leaching study to demonstrate and quantify the expected nutrient prevention benefits of a muck biochar-based soil amendment. I have proposed a variety of beneficial uses for the muck, including an example of how the biochar, muck, worm casting, seaweed extract, fertilizer, and soil amendment, that's a mouthful, could provide a sustainable source of soil funding. The Sorrel COC dismissed the idea in a so-called white paper that was full of incomplete, inaccurate, and misleading statements, and was more of a whitewash to dismiss the idea. These are essentially the same staff comments provided in the response to my CEER recommendation. The original Sorrel ordinance states, the purpose of Sorrel funds is to, quote, finance infrastructure for capital projects to reduce primary sources of pollution, including excess fertilizer, and natural stabilization and filtration systems. The Sorrel Oversight Committee specifically has a responsibility not only to allow, but to foster development and implementation of tools and techniques for restoration of the lagoon, and to identify and develop long-term funding sources. I am not familiar with any single other idea proposed by anyone else to provide a non-tax source of Sorrel funding. I have a sailboat at my neighbor's house across the street in Indian Harbor Beach. That canal was dredged 20 years ago and has since been refertilized and silted in. In order to protect our investment in canal dredging, I have proposed a soil health pilot project for the Indian Harbor Beach Satellite Beach Dredging Project. I'm going to put up a different. There's a lot of detail in there. Obviously, you can't see, but it's included in the handout materials. The project includes remote sensing and precision nutrient mapping to identify nutrient-rich sources, materials processing, distribution, and application to 120 acres, monitoring including baseline and post-application years 2, 5, and 10. The project is expected to prevent 430 pounds of nitrogen and 40 pounds of phosphorus for 10 years, 4,300 pounds N, 400 pounds P, and a removal efficiency of 279 per pound. The stone the builders has rejected has become the cornerstone. I encourage the County Commission to embrace the muck, biochar, and a lagoon as a living system for a sustainable approach to a resilient lagoon and implement the roadmap provided in the Soil Health Moonshot recommendation and Soil Health Pilot Project proposed for the Indian Harbor Beach Satellite Beach Dredging Project. Thank you for your time. And like I said, I have seen I just now saw the comments. I didn't see them before I came in. I would make one more comment. The CEER recommendation that I provided did have a money-saving suggestion, and that was to reduce garbage pickup to 1 day per week, since we have long since included recyclables elsewhere and yard waste elsewhere. I was suggesting we use that money for
CEER, do you know the number of that?
I think it's 2026. It's right at the top of my comments in there. 202-6045.
We don't have a separate card for that. We do. I couldn't find one.
I
Let me see.
signed in when I came in.
No, but go. Yeah, we got another 5 minutes to talk about that.
Well, great. I'd be happy to talk with you about it. I mean, I presented my comments. I just found out today. I didn't realize that the staff comments were available. I went through them. They're the same comments that are in the white paper that I responded to previously and have made comments to the board.
Now, you're speaking about which sorrel?
I'm talking about the soil health moonshot.
Yeah, the one you just presented on.
Correct,
yes.
correct.
Okay.
I don't have another topic.
Oh, I thought you did. Okay, all right.
Could I ask a question?
Yeah, absolutely.
Real quick, sir. You say that there's many uses for muck. Can you tell the board briefly some of those uses?
Well, I mean, in my mind, I was thinking, and again, biochar can help with reducing the leaching of the, but For example, you could use it as a low permeability material for a stormwater settling pond. And then at the effluent of that pond, you could have treatment. Biochar be one. The county has used Bold and Gold, but that includes like shredded tires. And shredded tires have a highly toxic chemical in them. The tire rubber that erodes from the tires driving on the road, the reason why you have to buy new tires is because the tire wears out and all that stuff washes down in the runoff. So we're finding 6-ppd quinone, I think is the name of the chemical, but it's as highly toxic as PFAS. And we're finding that these are ubiquitous contaminants that we're finding in the environment. But that would be one, is a stormwater settling pond. You know, I'm trying to think of what, strictly just the muck.
I mean, if we gave it away for free, and someone could come take it, and it's on a parcel, and here's 100,000 cubic yards of it tomorrow, what would be the appeal? What would
so my
a commercial
journey
use?
and this whole thing started with meeting a Sorrel staff member at a party 2 years ago, and she said, we don't know what to do with it. We don't have a way to use the muck. And that's where I started this whole thing on soil health and said you could use it as a soil amendment if you added the biochar and the other things. That's my best recommendation for what to do with the muck. But again, you could, if you had a large stormwater settling pond and you needed to line it with low permeability materials, I would say you could use the muck, but you'd want to treat it with probably fine biochar or something that could help stabilize that muck and could help reduce the leaching of any nutrients that are in there to the groundwater.
How do you make biochar efficiently, right? And that's a huge gasifier or something like that. I mean, we're going to be talking about I don't mean to interrupt. We're going to be talking about our vegetative waste going forward,
right? And
how we're going to process that, and it's that's its own process. And so, if maybe it's you, maybe it's someone else, got that material for free, and you go out there and you take it all and you turn it into biochar, I mean, can that be done? Is it?
I mean, and it can be done, but not economically just like that. There's a cost to it. Now, if there's an end use for the material, if the county was in both feet and committed to the project, you could find private sector partners that would be willing to work with the county, I think.
Just my last question, Mr. Chair. If you were to take all the county's vegetative waste in a year, convert it to biochar, what do you, and let's just say that, we found a use for it and there's a market and all of those kinds of things, what do you think that would cost?
I don't know what the pass-through volume is on that. I mean, and I have to tell you, my role with Wakefield Biochar, actually, I'm transitioning to another job, but my role with them has been environmental health and safety compliance at the facility in Valdosta, Georgia, and looking at their EHS programs at the mills where we work. The mills take timbers and they shave off the bark and the trimmings and they put it in their boiler and they pull it out before it's fully ash, and that's the char, that's the source of the char material. The plant is in the process of putting in a Takachar system, which is a smaller system typically used for developing countries out in the field and that kind of a thing. So they're producing their own, but they haven't produced their own at a large scale. So it's all sourced from the pulp and paper industry, basically, in South Georgia and North Florida. So as far as having somebody come in and say, yes, I'm excited to take your woody waste, there's still a lot of cost associated with that.
I understand, and that's what I was trying to get my head around.
Okay,
and I know you're an engineer. No, that's okay. So I thought I'd take advantage and ask the question.
But if you're already sizing it, if you're already chipping it up and you're doing something, I mean, that gets you a significant amount of the way there. And a big part of the cost would be the land and the improvements and all that. Now, if you've got land associated with the landfills, or you've got, there's some other synergy there, you've already reduced a lot of the heavy lifting in terms of cost and the capital cost in getting it started. If you could cost share that with Sorrel, which again, it's a capital project for the improvement of the lagoon, now you're actually sharing that cost between the county county carrying that load all and the soil program.
I mean, we are going to be picking up the vegetative material well into the future. And so I guess I was wondering, okay, at that point, we have it at the new landfill out there, and maybe they're going to put it in a huge pile and it's going to compost. Okay, you let it do it long enough, it'll compost. But what would it take to turn it into biochar?
You'd
So
have to
that's-
probably buy a pyrolysis unit and send it through basically a pyrolysis unit, burn it, capture that gas, recover and use those gases.
The syngas.
A syngas,
Would be part of
yes.
the cycle.
Yes. And so that you would use that energy in the process, or the excess energy would be available for whatever other purposes, co-located activities that you have to have there or want to have there.
Okay, thank you, sir, very much.
You're welcome. Thank you, commissioners.
Our next speaker is Tom Connolly.
Got it.
All right.
One of the few,
And you have 6, I see.
but I'm only going to talk on 2.
On 2?
Maybe 1. So can I have 6 minutes?
If you have 2, you get 10 minutes. You have 5 per item.
I'll see how good I do then.
You want it, okay, all right.
I'll just take the time I need and try to keep it.
We won't start the clock here while you're getting ready. So I would assume you probably, which 2 do you want to speak on?
1 and 2.
1 and 2.
I think that's right.
I was assuming that maybe some of yours were rejected, but some were accepted, so.
Yeah, 3 accepted. 1 I won't speak about because I agree with the rejection, and 2 that got rejected by the staff that I would like to talk about.
Okay, excellent, okay.
Yeah, it doesn't really show up too well. Okay, so you can see on the monitor, I presented this to you before. I'm just going to recap just a little bit. The flooding on Indian River Drive, if you can see the top of that. I mentioned that, we're underwater, October, just about every October. I put a chart in the middle to say, we know the water levels in the Indian River Lagoon. We know we should take an action. And you can see that on that chart, I got a little red circle. And on the bottom one, I want the water, excess water, to go out through Port Canaveral. But what I want to differentiate is, I don't expect the locks to be open for 7 days. I want a more methodical approach where the locks are opened and closed to meet that criteria of keeping us this close to flooding, so that there's not a lot of volume of water going out through the port. So what I'd really like to ask the commission to do is to take the next step and let's do a study on this. Now, what the staff has said is this is out of their jurisdiction. And I'd just like to remind the commission that this county has agreements with all kinds of bodies. They're in the business of cooperating with other jurisdictions. This is what they do so well. They're already cooperating with St. John's, Army Corps of Engineers, FDEP, and others. So I don't really think the classification of out of jurisdiction is appropriate, and I'd really like to stipulate that the county does out of jurisdiction all the time. And lastly, with Speak Up Brevard, you got to have some economic value. And what this would avoid are catastrophic problems. When the flooding gets too bad, it costs the county a lot of money. Given this is done right, this should be a minimal cost to have somebody like in emergency management look at the chart and say, yep, we're getting the flooding level. Let me call over to the locks. Let's open them up for a couple hours, close them back down. We're in good shape. I'm not expecting, 7 days like happened with Hurricane Faye and the negative ramifications thereof. So that's really what I wanted to talk about there. The staff recommended against it on out of jurisdiction. County does out of jurisdiction all the time, not relevant. Number 2 is that there's no cost savings. I'm telling you, this is going to save some catastrophic costs down the road. I heard, I don't know if this is true, all right, but somebody said to raise Indian River Drive costs, $500 million. We're not going to spend $500 million to raise the road. Well, we could open the locks if that's more reasonable. Now, number 2, the second item I wanted to talk about, And this is really minor on the list, but just let me get it off my chest if you don't mind. So I was out in front of my house on Indian River Drive. It looks like a third world road. It's been patched so many times. Now, it's going to get fixed when Sorrel comes through. So, I'm not really complaining about the fact it's never going to get fixed. It is. But I contend that we need another hot patch truck. We got a lot of cold patch on the road and some hot patch. And boy, you can drive down the road and see the hot patch is there forever. That is a high-quality job. You look at the cold patch and you go, this is coming up, and I'm going to be making another call. It starts peeling at the edges. We've had so much cold patch on this road that I don't even know what's under this road anymore. So what I wanted to propose to the county was, let's buy another asphalt truck. But now I'm involving my thinking to say, if the asphalt truck, which the folks that patch the road tell me, oh, it's down the south part of the county, we can't bring it up here. That makes sense, right? You're not going to drive the truck all the way up here for one job, is that maybe we hire out some patch jobs when the existing truck is not available. But Public Works needs to have a better response than putting cold patch down on some really bad portions of the road. So that's the bottom line for CEER number 2. Any questions? Open the locks for me, all right? Just let a little water out.
Yeah, that's okay, Commissioner Feltner.
Can I ask a question,
Sure.
sir, on the, have you spoken with the port about opening the locks?
No, I've not spoken with the port because I think I need the influence of who I think my advocates are, which would be the county, to do that.
Well, they have an elected board, the Port Commission. You can talk to a port commissioner.
Yes, I can. As a matter of fact, one of them may be running for District 1.
Okay.
Yeah. But I thought I'd start here because I think it's more of a problem for the county. It's not a problem for the port that our road is being flooded.
I can't disagree with you there, sir. But this has come up many, many times over the years, and long before I was a county commissioner. And we don't have the ability to tell the port, do this. Now, it'd be nice if they agreed, if that's what we all think should happen. But I just, if you're working on this problem, I think talking with a port commissioner and then possibly with the port CEO and that staff, in the alternative, you could talk with a state legislator. I mean, they vote on their budget and other things that have to do with seaports, and I just.
Yeah, I came here first. I think it's Brevard County. I think I want to go to my representatives first. Yes, I realize that I do vote on the port, and in the justification I put, us taxpayers in District 1 and probably a few others, but not all of Brevard County, we're on the hook financially for the port. If the port doesn't make money, we get taxed. And so I'm thinking that they should be able to give back to us. And that give back might be to agree to help us out during the flooding situations, because there might be a chance of some dredging that might be required. So I don't really know where to go with this except to come to my elected representatives and start here.
I think your next step, and I'm sitting here with a former legislator and one on the phone, is that you meet with a legislator, because, I mean, it could be the subject of a future bill, what you're talking about. But I don't think you're wrong to come here first.
Okay. And maybe I could get maybe a commitment to, rather than reject this outright, is just to form a committee and just see, let's say, how can we get to yes on Brevard County's side?
I think you should see about talking with a legislator first. And I'll say this last thing, Mr. Chair. Sorry, sir. The legislative session will start over again with committee weeks, probably in September. Does that sound right? In the even years, and so this summer is the time to have a discussion with the legislator.
I'd have to figure out what my ask of them is. Is it money? Is it commitment?
I think you can say, how about opening the locks when flood? I mean, you can put conditions, and you can work through that with a legislator.
Yeah, I mean, I could try that. I think that they might say the same thing that staff said. This is out of our jurisdiction, and more in port and the county. But why not? I'll give it a try.
A legislator won't say it's out of their jurisdiction. I mean,
Okay.
the port was ultimately created by the state, so.
Okay.
Okay?
Sure.
All right, sir.
I think probably too, the Army Corps of Engineers would have a great deal of authority over that, but I would personally look in the jurisdictional issues. I understand it's an intriguing idea, and I've had a lot of people inquire about it over the years. But I understand that they actually did that at one time. They opened the gates, I think more for inflow and water quality. But what happened, that the current was so strong that it called a lot of sand to fill in, and it literally made the locks fail.
You're absolutely correct. That happened after Hurricane Faye because they opened the doors for 7 days.
Yeah.
Which it would sound okay, right? My proposal in this was, let's say emergency management measures the level of the lagoon, and when the high tides or the low tides, let's say the high tide is lower than the lagoon, we're going to get a slower flow out. So it's more of a methodical, engineered approach rather than open the floodgates, so to speak. But you're absolutely right. After Hurricane Faye, it did cause a big problem for the port.
Okay, it was an interesting idea. Thank you
All
for
right.
your presentation.
As always, I appreciate you listening.
That's good. I agree with Commissioner Feltner that the legislative delegation, and I would think the Water Management District would be also good. Yeah. Well, they do in terms of a lot of issues with the lagoon. They are responsible. I would think they could probably give you some good information too. Okay. Michael Majak. This is 202-6044. Commercial Spaceport Authority, a spaceport task force.
Yes. Let's get started. Is that the right? Yeah, that'll work. Okay. So I talked to you, a year ago, February. Got a standing ovation. I told you about all the friendly neighbors of ours that don't necessarily get to vote. Some are charismatic, like redfish, and some are not, like the benthic macroinvertebrates. And then I came last month and I talked to you about why we need the Spaceport Authority and why I think you are the best place for us to go, because the cities aren't going to be able to do it. It's going to take somebody like the county. And the reason for that has to do with all these kinds of things that are driving change in our area. We're looking at huge numbers of needing housing and workers, and that's going to mean concurrency items and stormwater and sanitary sewer and roads and schools and everything else that comes along with all that expansion. And you know who's planning for that? Nobody. But it's coming. Just like the 1950s when we didn't know how to make stormwater work, we just dug ditches. Well, that's what they're doing out there right now. They're just digging ditches because that's how they know how to get the water away from their rooftops and into where they want it to go. Now, I presented this briefly last time just to give you some rough ideas, but I don't really know that this does a very good job of making the impact as strong as it needs to be. And so I started with this one last time about just the amount of deluge water that's being used. Let's see if I can't quite get that separated. But this is what's been permitted, and these are just a couple of the, their Starship is up there. There's 120 launches planned. They use 1.1 million gallons per launch. Falcon 9 uses 700,000. The New Glenn uses 500,000. You add it all up, that's 227 million gallons. Who has identified the raw water resource for that water? Nobody. Now, let me put it in another perspective. They just decided to build a satellite processing facility out there. It's a 1 million square foot building. 1 million square feet of rooftop. Rooftops are impervious by design, like 95% impervious. Better than even parking lots, which are like 85, 90, because they puddle, pond, and evaporate. Not roofs, straight down. Where does the water go? You can guess. The nearest receiving water body is the Indian River Lagoon. 1 million square feet. That's 10 Walmarts. 10. Not 1, not 2, not 5, 10 in one space with no concern for stormwater, runoff, anything else that they need. All of the concurrency issues are not being taken care of. I think you're in a unique position to bring this into fruition. You can't lead it. NASA maybe could, but I don't think they want to. Space Florida was supposed to be our hope, but they only have management control of a small area of KSE. Everybody else goes directly to NASA to figure out their leasing, like the satellite plan. NASA is not in the business of planning. They don't want to even be in the business of property ownership. But let me tell you, this tsunami is on its way here. We can stand up a committee, an interim committee, made up of the stakeholders that are involved out here, and they in turn can set up and stand up a permanent Space Force task force. It's a two-step process. The people that are on the interim task force set up the rules and the guidance and the governance, and the rest of them follow along when they adopt it. It's a two-step process. I've done it before twice. I've done it with the International Standards Organization, CISO, the Simulation Interoperability Standards Organization. And I did part of something very similar to that when I was working with Homeland Security as a principal architect on the emergency operations centers. And I had to take disparaged people from all across the country, put them together, and make them interoperate. You guys need to do that here. If you don't, we're going to be sacrificing our space center and our space coast and our environment and our quality of life. It's up to you. It's in your hands. We can help you pull it together, but it's going to take more than just talk, because we really need to form a coalition that will take charge of our resources. We have very limited water. I talked to you last time about the water. The pipelines going to Orange County is just not big enough. We're now starting to look at exactly how much water COCO is providing and how much Cape Canaveral is providing to the Space Center. These are two numbers that we want to start tracking over the next, last few years and years coming forward to see exactly how fast we're growing. Because it's, you see the gigabay going up already across the way, right? It's going to be bigger, appears bigger than the VAB. Again, another huge building putting out a huge amount of stormwater, and nobody's watching it. So if you have any questions, if you'd like to discuss it more, we would be happy to come and talk with you. I'm Michael Myjack, and I'm with the Indian River Lagoon Roundtable. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Very interesting. Appreciate it. Okay. Thomas Perez, 2026041.
Hello, good evening.
Mr. Chair, I'm sorry, sir. Mr. Chair, may I just quickly, we just received a message that Commissioner Goodson is not feeling well, and he's going to be off the call from this point on. I just wanted to make the board aware.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thank you for letting us know. Okay.
My name's Tom Perez. I'm from Titusville. I applaud your naming of the Speak Up Brevard program after Susan B. Connolly. I was fortunate enough to meet and work with Suzanne and attest to how well deserved it is to name this program after her. I appreciate this opportunity to share some ideas with you. I also speak on behalf of the Titusville Garden Club, of which I am a member, and 4 other garden clubs in Brevard County, as well as all the citizens that have used this fines mulch that I'm going to be speaking about in the past. Over the years, Brevard County has dispatched our yard waste into huge piles of chipped up logs, limbs, and branches. The yard waste that is chipped up and called mulch simply isn't. The stuff that comes out of the grinder is very coarse and unsuitable for gardening. This product contains small logs and limbs that make it through the single pass process, rendering the resulting material too coarse for most circumstances. A byproduct called the fines was previously produced by the county, but became unavailable in the fall of 2022. This product was effectively utilized by gardeners and citizens countywide to tend their gardens and yards. To produce the fines, the coarse material needs to be run through the grinding process a second time using a finer screen to further reduce the coarse material to 1 inch. Put another way, the coarse material produced from the first grind will take years to break down and become useful to the soil as an amenity, whereas the fines can be put into service directly into the landscaping project and used to produce compost. For the gardeners, the process of composting the fines takes a few months. It requires some maintenance, turning over the piles, watering, things like that. And the final product is a real good compost that you can use in your gardens. At our garden club, we make use of the fines. We offer plants grown at the club to county residents at considerable discounts, and we provide plants and participate in planting projects with the city of Titusville. We also donate vegetable produce from the gardens we tend to the food pantry in Titusville. The fines are a very usable and sustainable byproduct from our county's yard waste cleanup operations, and residents want it. Furthermore, it recycles some of the material that otherwise is landfill fodder. The background history of the fines provided by the county staff tells us that it was previously enabled by a third-party purchaser. The fines were produced in a large quantity that exceeded the purchaser's ability to use it all. This oversupply allowed for the excess to be provided to the residents at no cost. The third-party purchaser discontinued the purchase in 2018, and therefore there was no funding available for the county to continue making the smaller fines. The county said it only needs the larger 4-inch fines for its own use, so there is no need for the additional processing that would add to the cost. The amount of fine materials used by county residents was very small, apparently, in comparison to the amount produced by the contract. Residents making use of the fines typically came to facilities prepared to load containers in the trunk of their cars or pickup trucks and occasionally small trailers. The small amount used by residents is illustrated by the time span from when the contract ended in 2018 and when the fines were no longer available in 2022, almost 4 years. We propose that the county resume the production of the fines and make them available to the residents of Brevard County. Gardeners and homeowners across the county appreciate the value of this high-quality organic material. Making fines available again would support healthier yards, reduce disposal needs, and to demonstrate the county's commitment to sustainable practices. The amount of fines that would supply county residents, as I said, is small, okay, in comparison to what was produced previously. I expect that the additional grind to produce this small amount of material would be limited to maybe a few days, a year, if that, and not place an onerous request on the county. Its availability would be well received by county residents. If the cost of producing this small amount is an issue, residents could purchase the fines from the county at what the county calculates as production cost. We're talking about a very small amount in comparison to what was produced for this contractor that used it, in a sense, to burn as fuel. Okay, so I suspect just a couple of days of production, of having that sieve put in so that you could do this second run, would produce more than enough material for probably a year, considering the way it was used. With the contract, that was trailer trucks constantly just going through getting the stuff, so there was a lot produced. And this would just be a small, cost. And if it's an issue, it can be passed on to the people that use it. Thank you. Any
A
questions?
question. When the county was producing the fines,
Mhm.
did you ever use them? Did you ever acquire them?
Yes.
And what did you use them for?
Well, gardening, amendment to the soil. I had when I first moved here, I was in MEMS. I had a small farm with horses. I needed to help that pasture, and that was the way I did it. When I took things to the facility, I brought back some compost.
So I know county used to provide this valuable material. I have a question, maybe of staff. I know this particular CEER was denied, and the staff recommendation was, like I think many of them recommended, that we reject this CEER because it does not enhance the effectiveness or efficiency of county government as required by Home Rule Charter. Now, but it doesn't mean that's not a good idea, and we're producing a valuable product, and we are recycling biologic materials. I mean, if we chose to do that, regardless of what this says, we could still do that, could we not? We felt it's a valuable product, it's recycling, there's environmental benefit.
Yes, of course, if the board directs it, yes, then we would do that. Just
Right.
point out, there's an extra cost to the solid waste department.
Right.
It's in the definition built with our recommendations, yep.
And the CEER, though, is very limiting then. It's only limited if it enhances effectiveness or efficiency, saves money.
Correct.
It doesn't
Yeah.
mean it could be a great idea and save the consumers money, because
It's a win-win for everybody. I
Yeah.
mean, the county also, giving the citizens something that they need and they appreciate for very little cost. I suspect
Okay.
that it's,
I mean, it's something that any commissioner could come up with, right? A commissioner could bring it as an agenda
Yeah,
item.
Commissioner, and I don't want to be disrespectful, but if I remember staff discussion, it was not a very little cost. I think over 100? It was over $100,000, the program. So that's why I got rejected that way. Thank you, Tad.
I imagine that was to produce quantities under the old system, and if you determine the amount being used by citizens, I can't imagine that being an issue.
I think it has a lot of has some value, and perhaps we'll look at it as we move forward. We appreciate you bringing it.
Appreciate
I
it.
think the CEER is not just to meet the county charter and just the money side, but is it a good idea? Does it help the environment? Does it recycle, do good things? So I think it's interesting. Appreciate you bringing it forward.
Thank you.
Okay. Terry Fulton, CEER number 2026-018.
Terry Fulton, and I'm from Melbourne. I'm here to ask to speak about the law enforcement encrypting our traffic. If y'all don't know what that means, it's listening to police and the fire and anybody else on there. And I have 6 items to explain about that. Number 1, the law enforcement agency's excuse for encryption. Number 2, what open and closed transmission does. 3, what encryption does to the listeners. Number 4, what I wonder. Number 5, recommendations. And number 6, I can't even read it. Number 1, the excuse, and this is, I want y'all to listen to this really close. Sheriff Ivy said that he wants to encrypt, and he did do it. He wants to do it, and this is what he said. Criminals could listen and evade capture. So could means apparently after all these years, no coulds came about. It really makes me mad. I've listened to scanners over 45 years, and I haven't heard a thing of the sort. Open and closed transmission, that's number 2. Closed transmission, full encryption undermines public trust. It hinders accountability, that's major, and reduces situational awareness for residents. Encryption creates an information vacuum, eroding the sense of community connection to law enforcement. Open transmission. Law enforcement and fire department have had access to public records for decades. Open radio channels allow citizens firsthand and about emergencies, enabling us to avoid dangerous areas, prepare for disruptions, or even assist in a crisis. Open transmission promotes accountability. Real-time public oversight discourages misconduct. This is what I'm worried about, and ensures police action align with our expectations. Listeners help catch suspects, spot wildfires, even save first responders' lives. When agencies flip the switch to encryption, that two-way accountability goes dark. Number 3, what encryption does for us listeners. Listening is very personal. We use the scanners to stay informed about neighborhood incidences like burglaries, fires, accidents, which affects our daily life. It really does. Y'all might not think about that. Being single and a female, and there's 2 more girls there that need to know why there was 10 police cars running around in my neighborhood and we had no way to find out. No way. Smoke was so thick when I walked out my door, it scared the heck out of me because it's so dry. And if I'd been listening to my radio, which I would have been, I would have known what was going on. But I was so afraid I called the police and they didn't know either. Back when there was an open transmission, police were looking by helicopter for a person on a bike. They gave the description. Well, lo and behold, he was 2 doors down, hiding under a tree, and I called it into the police department. On a trip to the store, I avoided a wreck and backed up traffic for 6 lanes, 2 ways, and 4 on another that closed the whole intersection down at Babcock and US 1. There's no telling how many minutes or hours that saved me. What I wonder why the secrecy. Is it to cover up misconduct? I suspect that's a lot of it, especially since he said criminals could monitor. They hadn't in all these years. I have some recommendations, but I decided not to give them to you. I'm telling you, we citizens need and we deserve this traffic, and I have thoroughly explained why. Please help me do something about this. We need it. Yes?
Okay, thank you. I have a question for you, just quickly. Are you aware of how many communities do not encrypt now? Are there other communities that,
I don't know how many more. I started seeing them fall off the radio, but there's still a lot on there, and I'm surprised the ones that are still on there are on there, because it's the worst part of towns, not in Florida, across this nation.
okay, thank you. It was interesting. Oh, any other questions? Okay. We have one more, and it's Elizabeth Baker, 2026047.
Hi there. My recommendation was to address the litter issues in unincorporated areas, and requesting that a proactive waste management planning provision for brick and mortar commercial properties and multifamily residential properties with shared waste systems, including apartments, condominiums, HOA or COA managed communities, have an additional one-page waste management plan that could be incorporated into existing permit reviews, site plan approvals, or inspection processes. So the recommendation that I got back was to accept with revisions, as Brevard County will continue to maintain regulatory provisions addressing solid waste storage, litter prevention, and development review through chapters 62 and 94 of the county code, as well as solid waste concurrency requirements. So I guess my idea is a little simple when it comes to the legalities of things, and I can see that staff took their time to really look into, how they could incorporate something like this. And I think that what happened was a simple idea got covered in some bureaucracy. And really what I'm asking here is something very, very simple, just that with a business tax receipt or any kind of acknowledgement that they are in business, doing business, housing people, that they simply have one form that says, yes, we know where to put our waste. We know how to handle it. We have a dumpster on site. We have got covers on our dumpster. We know the trash days. Something very, very simple, because that waste ultimately from those properties, and all waste comes from where the humans are. It comes from our stores, it comes from the restaurants, it comes from where the people are, where people live, where we recreate. We've got tons of visitors coming here using single-use plastics at an even larger rate than people that live here. We can make this very, very simple. And my argument here is that if things were efficient, I wouldn't be here, and Keep Brevard Beautiful wouldn't exist. So we have issues with garbage that end up in our stormwater ditches. It ends up clogging things up. It creates accidents. In 2017, in just 3 months' time, there was a study done in Florida highways, and there were over 42 tons of trash removed from Florida highways in just 3 months. We have millions and millions of visitors coming here. We've got approximately 600,000 residents, somewhere around there. And I think that we can work on this and do some prevention. And we've got to start holding some people accountable. We have great rules. This is not about expanding regulations. This isn't about putting more departments in or more staff or anything. This is really just making sure that the laws that we already have are easy to enforce and that they get enforced. I drive through some unincorporated areas of Brevard County all the time. And if you drive past just about any strip mall location, any area where there's multiple businesses, and you look at their dumpster, I promise you, you're gonna find garbage all over the place. We can find a way to prevent some of that, and I really believe that a lot of that has to do with education. The the recommendations that came back to me really addressed like new development site plan and review requirements. But what I'm talking about is the new small business that just opens up in the strip mall. They don't need a huge site plan. There isn't new development happening. I want that business to be accountable and know that they have to take care of their waste too. So I think this can be simpler than adding a whole bunch more staff and more taxes and more. We don't need any of that. I think we can make this a really, really simple thing. So I really appreciate your time, and I appreciate staff looking over the recommendation. So thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. And I was presently reading some of the staff input on this. Any questions? Okay, that is our last card, our last blue card.
We have one comment on J2 that we need to hear prior to voting.
Okay. Rick Heffelfinger.
Rick Heffelfinger, District 1. I kind of wanted to come down here because I liked a lot of these. I didn't write one this year because what I saw happen this year happened the previous year, that what the community is bringing to you are good ideas, and it's already a suspect when it says, you got on your chart, does this reduce cost? A lot of this stuff would probably cost something. But what they're saying is, as a citizen, like, for example, if you are suggesting, like this woman just did, this lady, I don't know, that we can take some of the trash and keep it out of the landfill, I think that's why we recycle in the first place. That's what I was told. We recycle, saves the landfill, we don't have to build a new one sooner. That's the only reason. We're not trying to save the earth, we're trying to save the landfill. Hate to tell you guys that. So everything that goes into that recycling bin does not go into the landfill. Why would you discourage that? Why would you not? Did staff do a cost analysis and say, hey, this could be tons of stuff that doesn't go into the landfill. Maybe this person's got a good idea. And I'll tell you one thing that I do. I walk the street. We've got people that clean up the street, keep Brevard beautiful. They'll give you little grabby things for nothing. They'll give you the bags for nothing. You know what you do with it? You sort it by recyclables and you put it in your own garbage. Guess what? Waste Management just got a little bit of stuff that should have been in that bin to begin with. I don't know, we have waste management contract with the unincorporated. The cities have their own, right? But the cities, I think, are still complying with recycling. And I think most of their recycling probably goes to waste management because they're the only ones that got a decent recycling plant. So that whole object of recycling, and I realize we do it because we're incentivized too from the state, I believe was the original reason that if you recycle, the big government smiles at you, so you kind of have to keep that program. But it's a good program. Keeps that stuff out of the landfill. So there is a, just because it would look like, well, we'd have to write a procedure and we'd maybe have to put, at the beach, I don't understand why there's not a recycling bin there. I don't think a lot of them do. It's like, dude, we recycle here. We're letting the tourists throw all this crap into one, well, it's going right in the landfill. Because they're emptying that can right in the landfill. Would it be so hard to put another can there? Waste Management won't like it, or whoever the collector is, because now they got more recycling to pick up. But hey, we have a contract that says they're supposed to pick up that stuff. I have no problem taking it off my street and putting it in that bin because that's a good citizen. Keep Brevard Beautiful can help with that. Those programs, a lot of people don't even know they're there. A little bit more advertising, and the county plugs the heck out of the recycling program. You want to know the only people that are benefiting from that? That's Waste Management, because that's what they do. That's a closed system, but we plug the hell out of it, and we do it for good reason. It stays out of the landfill, and we all pay for it. So I just think there was a lot of good ideas, and just because they don't save money, if they benefit the citizens and they possibly have costs, that you guys should spend a little more time instead of kicking it back to them to come with a closed system. The gentleman with the biohazard stuff or biofuel stuff. He's one man. He's looking to you guys to say, this could benefit everybody. I don't know why Searle doesn't weigh in on some of this water issue. keeping that fresh water out of the lagoon is a good idea. I just think there was not enough thought put into some really good ideas. I think Sorrel should have embraced some of them. Thank you.
Okay, that is our last card on J2. I think we've heard all the blue cards, yes. That brings it back to the board. Does staff have anything they wanted to add before we?
And forgive me for repeating a little bit here, but Commissioners, yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Under the Charter, County Commission's final vote and consideration of the recommendation shall occur no later than 120 days after written receipt. So you do have to make a decision on to accept with revisions, or reject the recommendations.
What date did we receive the written receipt?
January 31st, so the 90 days under the policy for staff to get you, we met that by last week, and then you would have to the end of May to accept, reject, or accept with revisions. You can accept them all today and then be done with it.
When you say accept them all today?
You review each of the written recommendations. The County Commission shall vote to either accept the recommendation, each individual one, accept the recommendation with revisions, each individual one, or reject the recommendation, each individual ones. We have it set up for you that you can do them all in one single motion if you accept our recommendations. And if you want to pull one off for a separate vote or to have us reconsider it, then you can make that as part of the motion. Hope I explained that well.
Okay, I have a question. We accept your recommendation. That means we're accepting your recommendations to accept with changes. Am I reading that right?
Accept with recommendation it's an idea that, it could mean a couple different ways. It's an idea that we're already doing. They may have more of ideas in their recommendation than we can do. It also could be something that we've been continuing. An example I keep coming up with is somebody had in there for more bike lanes. And so we have there in accept with recommendations. Of course, we'll do bike lanes where we can, but you may not have space for bike lanes or the money, but it's a good idea to have more bike lanes. So, I mean, that's an idea of an accept with recommendation.
I think it's confusing because we have staff recommendations on citizen recommendations. So I think the requested action is that the Board of County Commissioners approve these staff recommendations, but that if the commissioners wish to treat any individual CEER or CEERs differently, that you pull those just like you would the consent agenda.
And we still would, well, let me ask you a question. If we saw one of these and we liked it, but we wasn't prepared to do anything, at any point in time, even beyond the 90 days, we can present it as a proposal.
Absolutely, sir, yes.
Some of these may have merit, but we'd want to look and evaluate. So it doesn't mean a no is a no forever.
Correct.
Right.
Year-round, a lot of these, Mr. Chair, if I may not fall into the criteria of the CEER program, but they might be great ideas for a commissioner to champion.
Right. Yep. Appreciate that, and there's some good ideas. So if we accept the document, the staff, I'm looking at the summary, are we accepting the items where the staff says accept with revision? Does that mean we're going to accept the recommendation with the revisions of the staff? And there were over 15 of those that I staff did a really good job.
17 of them, yeah.
17. Okay, great.
Sir, I think you said what I was going to say earlier, which is you can always petition the commissioner on these items. I know I've said that multiple times, that some of the things I've brought to the board started with a conversation in Publix. If there isn't more discussion, I'll make the motion to approve the staff recommendations.
And I'll second.
There's a second. Okay, and as mentioned, Commissioner Goodson's not on the phone, so it's just us three. Any discussion? Okay, I will just say a few things. I think some of these were wonderful ideas. I will go back and review them, and some that were rejected, it could be that through the budget process or through our comp planning process or through our rate process and solid. We have a lot of things that we could do. Don't think that your feedback has gone on deaf ears, because it was really, really some good ideas. And I do want to thank the public that took the time to really evaluate these issues and come up with these excellent recommendations on many of them.
And
I know
staff hundreds of hours. Staff took it seriously with hundreds of hours.
staff took hundreds of hours, and a lot of these rejections are just simply because we have no jurisdiction.
Yeah,
And
some
we
are not,
encourage
yes.
that those who come up with these ideas to really look at other jurisdictions. And we also, in the legislative process, have annual legislative delegation meetings, and some of these would be really good to talk to the delegation about. Okay, any other debate, discussion? All those in favor say yay.
Yay.
Carries unanimously. Thank you, and again, thank you for the members of the public who participated in this process. Okay, that, I believe, is the last item on our agenda.
We have one public comment.
Oh, we have the last public comment sector. We do have Rick Heffelfinger, impact fees.
Rick Heffelfinger, District 1. One of the things that I was hoping to see on the agenda was something about impact fees. I told you it would come back. Don't we have a study that's sitting out there about impact fees, updating the impact fees? Everybody say yes. I was shocked when that gentleman came and talked about what he was being hit with an impact fee in the Canaveral Groves area. The impact fees, I believe, that we're supposed to be studying are impact fees that hit guys that are doing big developments. Like I talked about the impact fees, the school board's got a good handle on it. You're gonna put more kids in my school, you give me money. When you have these huge developments come through and they put a load on the road and they put a load on, more people, more services, right? So they need to pay their fair share. And I know we don't like to do that because we encourage building. We love building, it's revenue. It's tax base, right? But when they exceed the roads, and then you turn around and say, your road's got a high capacity problem. Now it's like, you guys need to, maybe we have to bust the cap. That happened in 2016. And I see a pattern, and you're gonna repeat it. You have the opportunity not to. This is a new board. 2016, none of you guys are sitting here. They kicked the can down the road. That's what this term, kick the can down the road. Those impact fees, they gotta start paying their way. The gentleman that talked about what's going on out there at space. We want space, high-paying jobs. At what cost? The rest of us, we like watching your rockets, but I'm not gonna pay an extra $1,000 in my tax bill because you made me have to deal with your water, or you made me have to deal with fixing the lagoon more because you're dumping your cooling water in it. There could be some good solutions to that stuff, but they should help work with that. We love their business, we really do. And it's great. We're the center of excellence for shooting stuff into space. We also happen to have a geographic reason that they're here, so they're not really, it turns out, I guess, Elon doesn't like Texas for some reason. Might not get the orbital insertion he likes. This is the place. So he's coming here whether or not he has to pay or not, he has to come here. So let's let him pony up. I don't know, is SpaceX privatized now, or is it just him? He's going to privatize eventually. I mean, he's making a boatload of money delivering satellites, right? But he's got a good system. So if he's making money, I don't see a reason he doesn't help us out. We're helping him out. Hey, we'll accommodate you. We'll do some things. But you're not going to make the entire population of the people that retired here pay for Elon to have fun shooting rockets, are we? So those impact fees, he has an impact. He's shedding water on these buildings. That's going right into the lagoon. Does the lagoon committee care that he's doing that? You're pumping it out and he's pumping it in. Something don't wash there. So that's all I had to say about that. We got one more meeting before that impact fee thing is overcome by events because the state's coming in and saying you can't raise them too much. You have the opportunity to break that trend and look like a hero. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that concludes our May 5th County Commission meeting. We will move to individual reports. County Manager.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I have two related items on one report. I don't know if you're all aware, but we had a busy end of the week and weekend last weekend. We had a car accident in the Viera that caused power problems. We had a lightning problem at the Viera Regional Park. We had another situation at the library. We had an HVAC system go down at Sarno Complex. I want to thank the parks folks and especially the facilities. The facilities folks were hustling all weekend. I mean, Thursday through Sunday to work on everything. The HVAC system at the Sarno complex, that includes sheriff, tax collector, Parks and Rec. I think there's another office in there. The staff got me some data. I haven't had a chance to look at it. But if I determine the best way for that is a replacement instead of just continuing fixing, I may be coming back at the May 19th meeting to ask, if we don't have the funding, to actually ask to pull some stuff out of reserve. So instead of that way, we're not just keep patching Sarno. We can take a long-term solution to it. So I want to give you guys a heads up on that. So, thank you, sir.
Sounds like a good plan.
I have no report, Mr. Chair.
No report from the county attorney. No report from the District 1. District 2 is not here, so District 3?
Yes, I had the opportunity to attend 2 really cool events this past few weeks. I attended the Archie Carr Turtle Celebration at the Barrier Island Center. Events like this always remind me how special Brevard County is and how important our natural resources are. Thank you to the county that was there. Thank you to all the people who attended. Thank you to the donors for the silent auction. I won a bracelet and some earrings for sea glass, which was really cool. Also, I got to attend the swearing in of the new West Melbourne Police Chief, Chief Michelle DeGiorgio. She's been with West Melbourne Police for 15 years, and I have full faith that she is going to continue to, lead that department. It was so well attended. I couldn't even get in the room. I was standing in the hallway. I'd also like to take a moment to thank Skip Bell and Doug Brown for their efforts over the weekend at the Melbourne Beach Library. A wall was vandalized at the library, and Doug came out on Sunday and painted over the graffiti. I actually had gone to the store to buy paint myself, and then I was told he was on his way out there to do it. The responsiveness and the dedication of county staff really is appreciated by people who aren't here. They tell me to tell you thank you, so thank you. That's it.
Thank you. District 4?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll just say real quick, Vieira Regional Park, you can't make this up. There was a transformer that was out at the main concession stand in the middle of the park by the T-ball field, and I appreciate the park staff. I asked, and they got a generator going so that they could power that building. The short of it is that, they could use the bathrooms and such. And then a transformer, I think, was hit out on the road or something along those lines that knocked out the power for the entire park. And so it was the one concession stand building in the middle that had power from the generator. So, but the parks staff did a hero's job of taking care of everyone out there this weekend. So I greatly appreciate it. And we're going to bring them Chick-fil-A this week for breakfast. And then also the Vietnam traveling wall is in Wickham Park this weekend. And this board has supported the wall coming to Brevard the last 2 years with a grant to pay the park fees. And so I hope everyone will go out there and visit the wall and enjoy. It should be a lovely weekend. That's it, sir.
Thank you. I have one item. I know many of you probably read, we had another tragic drowning in Brevard beaches. And a couple things. One is I'm personally committed to do whatever is necessary to develop the resources to help support our first responders on the beach, whether it's through technology, hiring more lifeguards. I know the staff has done a wonderful job in adjusting pay scale, and I understand that you're getting a lot of interest on new recruits, and I really appreciate that. The county has been very proactive and is working to address that issue. It's so tragic when somebody chooses to come to Brevard County and enjoy our beaches and the vacation here and then lose their lives, or they lose the life of a loved one. Heartbreaking. I understand the actions of the lifeguards were heroic. They were able to save one life. Unfortunately, they could not the second. We really appreciate the hard work and the effort that they make, and how difficult that must be and how traumatic it is for them. I just hope that we can, as we move forward, take whatever necessary actions we can take to help those first responders out there. Yes.
Mr. Chair, I'll just say real quick, the TDC at our last meeting on our board report, I asked the council for $25,000 from money that we're holding now to shore up the lifeguard program with to help with the increases in the pay for this summer, and we did do that at the last TDC meeting.
I appreciate it, and I know the staff is working real hard on those issues and appreciate what they've done. I think that's it then. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
The opinions expressed by any member of the public during any period of public comment do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of the Board of County Commissioners of Brevard County, Florida, Space Coast Government Television, or the program sponsor, and are solely those of the presenter. The Board of County Commissioners of Brevard County, Florida, Space Coast Government Television, and the program sponsor hereby expressly disclaim any and all responsibility or liability for any defamatory or slanderous statements expressed by any member of the public during any such period.